Yes, students. So yesterday we have on Monday we have discussed about the methods of separation of impurities. So we have discussed about the methods of separation of impurities, like how to separate the sand from water. So we have discussed about the decantation, also sedimentation and decantation. So what is sedimentation? Sedimentation is a process in which the insoluble substances that are heavier than water can be separated by sedimentation. Okay. So one more process is there which is done after the sedimentation, which is decantation. Sedimentation is nothing but settlement of the sand, which is insoluble in water. It is being settled down in the water after some time. After a certain period of time, it settles down in the water. So when the sand is settled down, the water will appear like it is not, it is somewhat, its color changes, but still it appears like it is somewhat like settled down. The sand will appear down at the bottom of the glass. Now you can just do this decantation. Decantation is nothing but pouring the water, the clear water, into another container. So this is called as decantation. Decantation is pouring out the liquid without disturbing the sediments. So decantation cannot be used if the solid dissolves in a liquid. Okay, decantation cannot be done. Like, for example, if you're mixing the salt or the sugar in the water, then it will be completely mixed. It will be dissolved in the water. You cannot separate them. You can do the decantation and sedimentation only in the case of insoluble substances like the sand, which is mixed in water. So yes, children. So next topic. Our next topic is composition of air. So we all, as we all know that air is everywhere around us. So in the air, we find so many gases which are mixed. So we are going to see now about the composition of air. What is the amount of gas which is very in a higher quantity in the air? Okay, if you see this, if you see this chart, then you can find that nitrogen, the quantity of nitrogen is 78% in the air, and the carbon dioxide, water vapor and other gases are 1%. And about oxygen, oxygen is 21%. Oxygen is available 21%. And if you see this, that uh, components which are there and what are their percentage in the air. So the proportion which remains the same over time and location. So the gases whose proportions remain the same are nitrogen, which is 78.8%. It is, its percentage in the air is 78.8%. In oxygen, it is 20.95%. It remains same over the time and location. Argon, it is 0.93%. And neon, helium, krypton, these gases are 0.0001%. Okay. And now the variable of components amount vary over time and location. The amount, the components, the gases, which vary from time over time to time, and it depends on the location. They change. They change. They are carbon dioxide, whose percentage will be changing, 0.038%. Okay, and the water vapor. It depends on the process which is going on, how much type of how much amount of water vapor is being released due to the heat. So we all know that how the water vapor goes into air. So its percentage is 0.4%. And coming to methane, methane, it's found in very little quantity in trace amounts. Okay. And now coming to sulfur dioxide. So sulfur dioxide is also found in a very little amount, in a very trace amounts. Ozone. ozone is also found in a very little trace amounts. And nitrogen oxides like NO, NO2, and N2O, these are also found in a very little quantity, in a trace amounts. Okay, so if you see this in detail about the nitrogen, which is an inert gas formed primarily by volcanic actions. You all know what is volcano eruption. You all have seen it. I hope you all have seen it in the television. So volcano eruptions, when the volcano erupts, it releases various gases. So it is an essential component. Usually, this during these volcanic actions, during these volcanic eruptions, this gas, it comes out, nitrogen. And where you can find it, where else you can find this nitrogen? Nitrogen is an essential component of the protein substance like meat, milk, and eggs. So you can find this nitrogen in other substances like milk, eggs, and meat. Most of the atmospheric nitrogen. In the atmosphere also you can find the nitrogen. Usually in the atmospheric nitrogen, in the atmosphere, how it enters the soil with the help of nitrogen fixing microorganisms. With the help of this nitrogen fixing organisms, the atmospheric nitrogen from the air, from the atmosphere, the nitrogen, it gets into the soil. And when it gets into the soil, then it is being observed by the plants. Okay, when these plants are consumed by the animals like cows, goat, buffaloes, these all, they eat green leaf, they eat grass. So from the soil, the plants will observe this atmospheric nitrogen. So this nitrogen fixing microorganisms, you'll just learn about that in your higher classes, about all these, how the nitrogen enters into soil and then how it gets into the plants. Everything you're going to learn in your higher classes. Okay, so children, now coming to oxygen. Oxygen is 21%. So it is present in the atmosphere. We all inhale, we all take in oxygen and we give out carbon dioxide. We all know that. Okay. Now it is essential for burning process and survival of earth, survival of life, survival of all the living organisms on the earth, isn't it? Oxygen is necessary for everyone to breathe for survival on the earth. So it is essential burning process. Like for burning, if you just want to burn wood, if you just want to keep the fire, so what you need, can you just fire thing? Can you just fire the wood? If you want to just fire something, if you want to cook something outside, when you went out for uh, you just went out for picnic with your family, you have gone out for picnic, so you just took all the things for cooking purpose for outside. You just want to cook outside. Now you just want to fire, you kept all the wooden pieces, you collected wooden pieces together, and then you just want to fire it so that you can cook on it. If you want to fire it, you need oxygen for this burning purpose. For burning, you need oxygen. Without oxygen, you cannot burn anything. Okay, so children, oxygen is necessary for burning process. For example, if you take you just glue a candle, you glow a candle and then just keep it on a table, it will glow. When you just cover it with a glass, take a glass and cover that candle, what happens now? Can the candle glow? You just cover that candle with a glass. Now what happens? It, yes, Agastya, what happens to the candle now? If you just keep the glass upon that candle which is glowing, what happens? Yes, Rudranish, 1 second. Yes, Rudranish.
Ma'am, the candle will turn off, ma'am.
Candle will turn off. Why it will turn off? Keep your camera, everyone. Yes, Bhuvan. Bhuvan, you can unmute yourself.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
because in that glass is no oxygen is there, ma'am.
Okay. So in that glass, a certain amount of oxygen will be there, which will be exhausted. There will be no oxygen for burning purpose. Then the candle will not glow
Yeah.
properly. Okay.
Glow properly.
Just mute yourself. Okay, so this was about the oxygen. So oxygen is necessary for the survival of life on Earth. Other 1% component include argon, carbon dioxide, water vapor, noble gases, and ozone. Smoke, dust, and other gases are also there present in the air along with oxygen. Just give me 1 second, children. So now coming to argon. Argon is one more gas which is colorless, odorless, and relatively inert gas. It is used in electric light bulbs, fluorescent tubes, etc. Okay, so it is colorless. Usually the gas is colorless, odorless. It doesn't have any odor, smell. Okay, it is colorless and it is a inert gas. We cannot find it in the air. So it is in our trace amounts. Usually we just use this gas in electric light bulbs like fluorescent tubes, etc. And now coming to carbon dioxide. So now coming to carbon dioxide. So its percentage in the atmosphere is 0.036%. Okay. So this carbon dioxide, from where we get this carbon dioxide? During the process of respiration, when your respiration process is going on, like you just inhale, you take in oxygen and you give out carbon dioxide. So in this process, you're releasing the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, you're taking in the oxygen. So this carbon dioxide is essential. It is important for photosynthesis process. For plants, they take in carbon dioxide, isn't it? We all know that plants take in carbon dioxide and they give out oxygen. So it is also produced when things are burned. When you burn something, the carbon dioxide is being released. So now coming to water vapor. Water vapor is 0 to 4%. The sun heats up water. From where we get this water vapor? We all know that when there is very much heat, when there is very hot, when the temperature is hot, then what happens? The water from seas and oceans, it turns in the form of it evaporates and form water vapor. Usually a small experiment, which you all know that in your house you'll just boil the water, you heat the water. When the water is in the boiling condition, then what happens? The water, it boils and then it converts into vapor. It goes up, it goes into the atmosphere. These vapors, they go into the atmosphere. So the vapor of the water from the seas and ocean, they evaporate in the air in a huge amount, because there's a lots and lots of water in the sea and ocean. So this water, it evaporates due to heat of the sun, and then it goes up and it forms clouds. So on the earth surface there is fresh water which is available for plants and animals. So the smoke, and now coming to smoke and dust. The smoke and dust which is released from the factories and the vehicles, where it goes up in the air and it just disturbs the ozone layer. It depletes the ozone layer. It spoils the ozone layer. So what this ozone layer is doing, this ozone layer is covering our earth. Okay, this ozone layer is covering our earth. I just want to show you one video regarding this. So how this ozone layer protect.
Ozone layer. Ozone layer lies in the atmosphere between 20 to 26 kilometers above sea level. It acts as a shield and protects the Earth's organisms from the powerful effects of ultraviolet radiations coming from the sun. The atmospheric pollutants, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, methane, CH4, and nitrogen oxides, N2O, are depleting the ozone layer. Among these, CFCs are the most damaging agents of ozone layer. CFCs are carbon compounds having both fluorine and chlorine.
So I just want to tell you, I hope you all can see it.
Which are very stable and not degraded by any biological process. They react with the ozone molecules and cause reduction of the ozone layer. Recently, it has been discovered that ozone layer is getting thin at certain places. It is called ozone hole. It was first discovered in 1985 over Antarctica. The depletion of ozone layer allows more ultraviolet radiations to reach the Earth's surface. In humans, the increased UV radiations increase the incidence of cataract, skin cancer, and loss of immunity. It is therefore worthwhile to work towards stopping all further damage to the ozone layer.
So now coming to properties of air. So what are the different types of properties of air which we can see? Air has mass. How we can say that air has mass? So by doing this experiment, you can see this experiment here on the screen. So if you just fill the balloon with what you're filling the balloon, you're filling it with air. So after filling this balloon, if you measure it, it will just weigh something. It has some weight, isn't it? So this shows that air has mass. And in this experiment, if you are just tying two balloons to a stick, what is happening here? You just take out the air from one balloon, and now how you can see the weight of this balloon, it just come down because of the weight in the air. So this shows that air has mass. This by doing this experiment, you can find out that air has mass, air has weight, and air has volume and occupies space, isn't it? If you fill something, if you fill a balloon, then it will take a shape of the balloon. Okay, there are so many toys which are filled with air, isn't it? So they take the shape of that toy. So now air exerts pressure. Air also exerts pressure. It has some pressure. So by doing certain experiments, you can even find out the different properties. You can even find out that these properties are true. What are the properties? What are the four properties of air? Air has mass. Air has weight. Air has volume and occupies space. Air exerts pressure. Please note it down in your notebooks. Note it down in your books, children. Note it down these points. It's really important. Note down the properties of air. I'll underline it. Note down. Yes, Rinika, you have to note it down now. This the properties of air. All the four, note it down. Air has mass, air has weight, air has volume and occupies space. Air exerts pressure. You have to do the homework. You have to draw this diagram. It's a homework for you. Okay, draw this diagram and write the properties of air. And I want the homework from each one of you. All, everyone, you have to show me the homework. Draw this picture and write the properties of air and just show me. You have to draw this picture. Very neatly you have to draw. Label it properly. Color it if you have colors. And then show me. Okay? It's your homework. Note it down. Note it down as your classwork and then do it again as your homework. Okay, children, finish.